So now that I found that, I'm like, okay, now I feel good because I get what's going on. But that doesn't mean that I have the answer to the main question. What is the main question? Well, okay, yeah. Now you know how you got to this place. But the question is, why is that younger students are underperforming? And say, did I go? Maybe I read a couple of journals. Maybe I read a couple of books. And there's very, very interesting things about the topic. But I don't know. They just don't convince me. I don't feel good with the answers. I'm like, I don't know. I don't feel about that. I don't think I entirely get that. So I even go to other faculty members, and the other faculty members, when I ask them, hey, how, are you struggling to connect with your younger students? Probably what the faculty members are going to tell me based on the data, what is? So let me just rephrase that. I'm trying to get advice for my particular problem, and then I go to other faculty members and I ask them, so how do you how do you work with young students? Because they are very problematic. I am struggling with them a lot. So what do you think the faculty members would tell me? For my example, I kind of came up with something related to what you mentioned. Let me show to you. Okay. Again, I'm going to stretch this example too far. All right. But let's say that I read journals, I read books, I asked faculty around, and it seems like I am not able to find the Holy Grail. I'm just not getting there. I just cannot find an explanation of what's going on. So what I do is that I decide to ask a couple of my students. I go and maybe call or maybe just run into one of my students, one of the younger students that were not able to succeed in the class. I have them in front of me and I ask them, why were you not able to get an A, B, C, or D in my class? What happened? Can you tell me? And so I asked this to the student, and this is something that is based in a real story that happened to me. Well, not me being a faculty member, but somehow related. So let's say that I asked my student, so what happened? And my student tells me, I think you're a very good teacher. I really enjoyed the class. I really like statistics. Everything is super, super cool. But the only problem that I had, or the main problem that I had, is that you kept wanting us to use that, I don't want to say the word, software. That platform, that RStudio thing, you wanted us to use it to solve all the statistics problems. And I hate that software because you need to code everything. You need to build syntax. You need to build scripts. It's not very friendly. It doesn't help me. So instead of studying for my statistic test, I first needed to learn how to use your program. And all the time that I could have spent studying for my test, I ended up spending it learning or understanding how to use your program. And then me as a teacher, I'm like, oh, really? Okay. And then I go to another student, again, another young student from the ones that were not able to succeed in my class, and the student tells me something similar, and then a third student told me something similar. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to change the approach. I'm going to go and visit, or not visit, maybe call, or maybe just try to find one of the older students that succeed in my class. And when I ask my student, and maybe my student is, say that maybe the student is 60 years old, and I ask the person specifically, I mentioned, hey, do you have any trouble using the platform that I told you to use, the RStudio? And the student tells me, no, because back in the 90s, that was the only thing that we were using. We were programming all the programs, we were coding, we were building syntax. So for me, that was pretty much the same thing that I'm very used to do. So no, it was pretty simple. And then I asked another older student, and the student says the same, and then a third one, and it says the same. So I'm like, okay, Eureka, now I know what happened. So now what I need to do as a faculty member, I need to determine if whether I remove this program from my class, or I provide more resources for students so that they can understand how to use this. And that's it. So that's the end of the story. That's how you would go from the very first data sheet all the way to finding something that really is going to make you make any kind of change to in your classroom.